Hey guys, Minty here. Sorry for the much shorter intro, but I'd like to jump right into the topic of today's video, as it's going to be much more time consuming than what I usually produce. You may remember way back after Meet Your Match that the From Pyro with Love team created an open letter to the TF team addressing the main concerns with Pyro from the view of top competitive Pyros. Now, while my own skill level is nowhere near as elite as this lot, I believe I had the experience to weigh in with these concerns and decipher whether they have been fixed post-update. I'll go ahead with the open letters concern list and address each main issue in its own section, starting with the most glaring issue for the longest time, Flames being inconsistent with network conditions. He said, "Will you defeat them?" Flame range had always been very inconsistent in regards to a player's network conditions. This allowed Pyros with a better connection to a server to be given a massive advantage over those that did not, demonstrations on screen. This was a big obstacle towards the consistency of Pyro's damage and made the conventional M1ing of the flamethrower even tougher than it normally should have been. Let's take a look at the state of hitboxes with net_fake lag set to about 300 to see if they're fixed, as well as spamming W and S to see if they still stay where they should be. From what we can see, the hitboxes have become far more consistent and don't fly forward far past what they should be able to, even with a much worse connection. This was by far one of the most infuriating issues faced by Pyro mains of all skill levels, and I am overjoyed that it has been fixed. So I'll give this issue a solid fixed. I covered this a little while ago, wherein I gave demonstrations on how the old flame particles did not travel as far as the actual particles hitboxes did, largely making the flamethrower's range deceivingly inconsistent to both the user and the target. Let's have a look to see if it's been fixed. Well darn, it looks like they cleared it up. Wait, we're forgetting the one culprit of even worse inconsistency. The holy mother of crits herself, Auntie Flog. They even fixed the Flog's range. Wow. Good on you, TF team. This issue gets a certified fixed. Honestly, this could be either or depending on how you view the changes and the applicability of the new weapons. I've yet to try them out myself in Highlander, but I can say for certain that the Dragon's Fury and Jetpack alone will definitely be meta breakers. The Dragon's Fury will allow for a much deadlier primary that still allows for airblasting allies, and the Jetpack will allow Pyro to become a much more versatile flanker, especially since the main issue of flame inconsistencies has now finally been resolved. One thing the concern list does address is the weakened state of burst damage combos for Pyro, such as flare punching, since that 90 damage crit is often not enough to kill your target now before you get your head smashed in, and power jack jumps, since the speed boost is now not really reliable enough to keep up with subsequently shotgun faster targets like an escaping soldier or scout. While not really a problem with Jungle Inferno itself, this is certainly an issue I still feel needs looking at, since Puff and Sting being killed off just seems unfair for the variety and higher skill ceiling it added to Pyro's repertoire. Since this issue is still an either or, I'll give it a debatably partly addressed. This issue was a particularly annoying one to deal with. Reflected projectiles would actually collide with teammates, and in other cases, reflected projectiles would just career off into random directions, like the ever-iconic 180 reflect that boggled the minds of many. The projectile would detonate right on a teammate rather than launch forward back to the enemy you reflected it to, causing unfortunate deaths like the example shown. Specifically, if you are right behind a player, the reflected projectile would detonate on them. This seems to have not been addressed, as the reflected projectile will still detonate on an ally it hits regardless of distance reflected from them. However, the widely random variance of reflected directions seems to have been fixed slightly, so I'll say this issue has been partly addressed. This was a devastating one. The Airblast delay bug meant it took a whole 0.25 seconds longer to airblast after switching weapons to and from your flamethrower. If you just spammed your airblast it would be fine, but switching from your shotgun or a flare gun back to this makes the airblast slower. This was crippling to Puff and Sting Pyros in particular, who commonly swap between primary and secondary weapons for their combos. However, It looks like they've fixed this issue, as quick swapping from and back to my flamethrower did not appear to delay my air blasts, so I'll go ahead and give this issue a big fat fixed. This is an issue that I myself have been quite vocal about in the past, in the many examples of Afterburn buffs I've given as suggestions. Old Afterburn did a guaranteed 10 seconds of 60 damage, 6 per second, to enemies who were ignited, and failed to be put out for that duration. Even so, it is incredibly easy to have yourself extinguished by a pyro, a liquid weapon, a medic, a dispenser, or a health pack. You get the point, Afterburn's hardly the worst debuff to be afflicted with. Or at least was, until the changes. Overall Afterburn damage has been upped to 8 a second rather than 6, meaning a full 10 seconds of burning will inflict 80 damage. Not fatal maybe, but at least enough to keep light classes wary around pyros. However, since puffs from the flamethrower are no longer able to guarantee this 10-second duration, the use of flare guns or the gas passer is greatly encouraged in order to get the full duration. Also, Afterburn damage is now the source of the healing debuff, which while seen as mediocre because of how easy Afterburn is to put out, pairs well with the flamethrower rush as the constant stream of flames is slowing your target's healing by 20% no matter what, until one of you is dead or has escaped. Even better when splash weapons like the Scorch Shot, Detonator or Gas Passer can light a whole team and afflict them with this crippling debuff. Without a doubt, I will say that the issue of Afterburn being weak has been fixed. I suppose this was more of a debatable one, but from 3000 hours as Pyro, I can certainly tell you that for me, having loads of flames engulf half my screen when I'm trying to discern who to mow down was far from the most intuitive or fun thing in the world. It's fine if it's an enemy Pyro obstructing your vision with their flames, since the whole point of them is to be disorienting, but your own flames should not be in the way of your field of view. Let's take a look at the new visuals. Oh yeah, that is much cleaner and less in your face alright, and you know what, those flame particles are pretty damn sexy. No holds barred, and easy fixed. Much like the range of flames, Airblast ranges were wholly unpredictable due to the massive 256x256x128 hitbox. Now however, as was best thought by most skilled pyromanes alike, Airblasts follow the same style as flames. They now have a cone hitbox rather than a big ass cuboid. This has made Airblasts a lot less reaching and more tight in general use. Let's see how the range looks from our side. Looks all good, right? But how about an enemy pyro blasting us? Does it seem like they're too far back when they blast us back? Let's have a look. I don't know about you, but I'd say that looks a lot more believable than the olden days. The pyros were in pretty close range before they could catch me off guard, and I wasn't left thinking, how the hell did he reach me? This issue gets a solid fixed. So, TF team, I have one thing to say to you. Thank you. Thank you so much for fixing or at least addressing basically all of these major issues us pyromanes have had for a long time. Jungle Inferno has, excuse the pun, reignited my burning passion for playing Pyro, and has made my experience more fun than I can say I've ever had playing him. I don't think I've ever enjoyed her as much as I do now, since everything is a lot more streamlined and consistent. What do you guys think? Think the TF team did a great job fixing Pyro? Think there's issues they glossed over? Do let me know. This has been your favourite cup of coffee, and as always, I shall see you next time, my sexy compatriots. Bye!